In this video, we are going to be discussing one of the biggest problems in NBA 2K24 right now. And in my opinion, the biggest problem is REC Randoms not understanding their role in this game. Now, if we think all the way back to 2K17, which to me, I didn't play 2K16. So for me, 2K17 is always going to be one of those games that I consider to be the best 2K. And it's not just because of the gameplay, because trust me, that game had a lot of gameplay issues. It was just the way the vibe was, the community was, you know. Like, for example, in the background, I'm going to show you guys two games that I played. I lost both of them back to back, even though I went crazy in both games. But the point I'm trying to make is, back in the day, the game was very simple. It was a very simplified system. We had the archetype system, okay? Where you're a playmaker, stretch big, glass cleaner, slasher, lockdown defender. It made the game very, very simple. Now, obviously, a lot of people, they started to get mad about the game. They're like, we want to be superstars, and we want to play like Kevin Durant, want to be this, want to be that. Obviously, over time, 2K introduced a dual archetype system, which, to a lot of people still wasn't enough, and people wanted to be able to customize their own build. But slowly but surely, 2K got to the point where they created the builder. Now, with the builder, it gave you a lot more flexibility. And as you guys can see, even in the background right here, I think that in a way kind of confuses a lot more players than it did them good. Because, if you're an experienced player, you kind of know what you're doing. When you go into the builder, you make a certain build to play in a certain way. The issue with a lot of these randoms is they don't know what the build is supposed to do. Like, for example, this year, you can make a point guard build with good passing, high drive and layup, and a high three-pointer. So when you go into a game, unless you're super comp and obviously you're playing a competitive way, a lot of people don't know what to do with the build. These REC Randoms, they're out here confusing themselves. Am I supposed to be Steph Curry, or am I supposed to be, like Magic Johnson? They don't know. So they come into the REC and they're overpassing, or they start taking contested shots, and they're not helping their teammates. Now, for example, someone like me, the build I'm currently using, as you guys can see, he's just going crazy in the background. But this build, I made it specifically to dominate the REC, solo REC system. Because I know what I did with the build. I made a lot of sacrifices that was in my opinion, was worth it, okay? Because it gave me a lot of offensive power, okay? I'm able to go crazy with the build. And also, as you guys can see, I'm utilizing the skill of the build. I'm showing off every single part of the build, whether it's the post fade, the drop step, being dominant in the paint. Some of these randoms, okay, you'll be making builds and you guys don't even, I don't know what your build is supposed to be doing. Like, for example, I was playing the other day on the stream, and I ran into a couple of inside bigs, okay? And I'm like, okay, what is an inside big on 2K? Like, what are you supposed to be doing? Because you don't play on the inside. Like, for example, the build I'm using right now, y'all can see I'm posting up, I'm spinning dudes, I'm dunking on dudes, right? But I'm not an inside player. Like, you would think, y'all can see it. Eventually, look, I can still shoot the ball. I have good playmaking on the build. So this is not an inside build, but yet I'm more dominant, and I play more dominant than a lot of inside centers, which is very, very confusing to me, because if you're an inside center, you don't have any three. You don't have any responsibility. So, like, these guys just, it's a very weird game. Like, on 2K17, you play glass cleaners, very simple. They get the rebound, they kick it out, okay? They're not there to try to be what they're not supposed to be. I feel like with this new superpower that 2K has given a lot of players, everyone's trying to do too much. Everyone's trying to be Michael Jordan. You're not Michael Jordan, all right? You're not Kobe. You're not LeBron, okay? You'll be coming out here. People are getting mad. People are getting mad because you guys aren't using your builds to the full potential. Now, whose fault is that? Is that 2K's fault? It's definitely not 2K. It's definitely not 2K. It is the users that are playing the game. I mean, the user experience sometimes, they make the game almost impossible to play. Like, a lot of these REC Randoms not understanding their role. A lot of people are sort of arguing that 2K is dead and this and that. I mean, I wouldn't say, yes, I understand where they're coming from that perspective. But at the same time, you can also argue the community is also a big part in terms of the decline of the game. Like, when you hop online, you're not, the game experience isn't that fun. And now I can say this because one of my biggest issues that I had in the past with this game was the shooting. Okay, I wasn't able to shoot properly. You guys can see on this build, I've got this build all the way to a 97 right now, and I'm shooting about 62% from 3 on this build, and like a 71% field goal. So this build is very, very efficient. I'm hitting my threes, but at the same time, so we're still dunking on dudes, but at the same time, the game is not like as fun as it should be, because yes, in these gameplay, for example, y'all can see I'm dropping like 30 plus points, right? And the next time I'm gonna do the same thing. But I would love to have a team game experience where everyone is so connected, everyone's kind of in line on the same page. I mean, that's the best thing, in my opinion, about playing Rec back in the day. Whereas on 17, you could just hop on and you'd have a very good experience. Now, I'm not saying every game was good on 17, but most games were good on 17. And that's because everyone stuck to what they were supposed to be doing. Now, am I saying 2K should go back to the archetype system? Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is, a lot of these rec randoms, they just don't know what the build is supposed to be doing. Like, right here, you can see, I know the strength of my build. I know my build has mid-range. I know my build has post control. I know my build has, you know, shooting. I know my build can look. I know my build has standing dunk. So I know what my build is capable of, and I'm using that. That's very, very important. I'm actually using the skills that I made in the builder. Some of these guys, I talked about it earlier, you'll be in the builder, and you make a specific build, and you don't play like what the build is supposed to be playing like. You know, I see a lot of these 6'2 guards. Sometimes, you know, they're off ball. They start running inside the paint, trying to go up for a standing layup. I'm like, bro, did you make the build to do that? I'm sure you didn't make a build to do that. Again, it's a very confusing thing with the way the archetype system is. You can see this guy right here, very impatient, wanting the ball every 2 seconds, not understanding how the game is supposed to be played. So, I mean, y'all let me know what you guys think in terms of the rec randoms, because I think that's definitely one of the big issues. Obviously, the skill set is not the best, right? It's not the best, but on 17, you could make a stretch big on 17 and just space the floor. That's literally all you need to do, because you're gonna have lockdowns on the team that are gonna play lockdown defense. Your playmakers are hired to make plays. Now you're gonna have a guy that has super high playmaking, super high shooting, and he just doesn't know what to do with it. It's just too much responsibility. It's too much, you know, arsenal for a lot of these rec randoms to deal with. So I mean, moving forward, I don't know what 2K can do, because I don't think at this point, yes, we can always blame 2K, okay? We can always blame 2K, but it's going to get to a point where we, as a community, we also need to start taking responsibility, because, like I said, for me, shooting is not a problem anymore in 2K. Yes, I understand some people are still having shooting. I guess it's not the best shooting game because of all the changes and everything, but even with shooting being fairly consistent for me, the gameplay in itself, you know, and again, a lot of content creators, or when I watch some of these other YouTubers, they keep talking about, oh, content creators are complaining because the views are down or whatever. I don't think the views are down this year. I don't think anything's down this year. I just think people are just getting, like, generally bored of the game. And y'all let me know why that is. I don't know why that is. Like, back in the day, a couple of years ago, 2K20, 2K21, not 21, but 20 for sure, I can play 2K for 6, 7, 8 hours straight. Whereas nowadays, even though I am having more fun on my build, it is generally more fun, it's still a lot harder for me to just sit there for like 5 hours to play 2K. It's not possible. I'll play 2K, I would say maximum 3 rec games, 4 rec games sometimes. Even if I'm having a good time, your boy just wants to hop off the game. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm getting older, I'm getting used to the game, if the game is not as fun anymore. But anyways, that's just for me. One of the big issues with the rec randies, in my opinion, is just the fact that there's just too much power that 2K has given them, and they just don't know how to utilize it, and it's causing a lot of issues within the community. Now, if you don't play with rec randoms, you would never understand what I'm talking about. People that play rec randoms all day know exactly what I mean. You be getting into a game, the guy be doing some some crazy stuff. Like 1 minute he's trying to slash, the other minute he's trying to shoot from Steph Curry range, and you're there thinking to yourself, wait, what is your build? You have centers good enough for contested shots, can't get rebounds, but it's supposed to be inside bigs, can't set no screens, and you're like, wait, what is your build? Like, what are you supposed to be doing? So it's really, really confusing. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to change, unfortunately. I think we just have to deal with it, but it's definitely a big, big problem within the community, and I think at this point, we as a community, we just need to start looking at each other and just be like, look, we need to start blaming one another rather than trying to always blame the game, because yes, 2K has its own fault, but it's definitely not always 2K's fault. But anyways, enough ranting for now. Hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.